Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and it's time for High Five Monday. Today, we have been going through Psalms 112, but today I'm going to deviate because of the date on our calendar is April 19th. I want to talk to you about the ancient roots of violence linked to April 19 in history. Now, let me share with you some of the things that happened. Because Jesus told us to watch and pray, didn't he? He didn't tell us to speculate, but we should have an understanding of the times. This is the month of Iyar, and it's a month of Issachar. Issachar had an understanding of the times and knew what Israel ought to do. And here's just a few things that happened at April 19th to May 1st. These are 13 days of high occult that demands sacrifice by fire, all the way back to Baal. And the ATF raid on Covenant of the Sword and the Arm of the Lord, the explosion of USS Iowa, 47 sailors killed, 1993 Waco Branch Dravidian raid by the FBI and ATF, April 19th, 1995, Oklahoma City bombing, the Murrah Federal Building, April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School shooting. April 16th, 2007, Virginia Tech Massacre. April 19th, 2010, Gulf oil spill. And April 16th, 2013, it was a Boston Marathon explosion, but the second terrorist was found in a boat in someone's backyard on the 19th. Fertilizer plant explosion in West Texas, 2013. And this is, it's a time, in the Bible, it says, and it was the spring of the year when kings went to war, but David stayed home. So even all the way back to his time, it was a time of war. It was in this time period, it was the birth of Rome. It was the birth of Muhammad. It was the start of the Revolutionary War, Battle of San Jacinto, end of Texas Revolution. It was the start of Mexican-American War. It was the start of the Civil War, birth of Adolf Hitler. The 16th was the anniversary of Texas City explosion, where over 500 died. A Bay of Pigs failure was on this time. So I think you get kind of a drift of the time that we're in. There is so much witchcraft in the United States right now. There are more witches in the United States than there are Presbyterian. That was a Pew report. And let's see. I want to read to you this. Why do we often witness tragedy and senseless deaths during the second half of April? And this is done by Charisma Magazine. And it said, I have studied these annual events for years as a time to watch and pray for our nation and Israel because of the series of tragedy and terror. It was not until this year, 2018, with ER celebration of the 70th anniversary of Israel being celebrated, that was in 2018, on April 19th, that I stumbled on the root cause of the horrific cycle of tragedy and terrorism in history. Now, there is no Hebrew word for coincidence. And did you know that in occult and witchcraft, their belief is there is no such thing as coincidence also? CNN published an article in 2011 titled, What is About Mid-April and Violence in America? Throughout history and civilizations, the second half of April has been a time for blood sacrifices. It goes back to the worship of Baal and spread across several civilizations. Baal was worshipped as a sun god and a god of fertility. There were many rituals celebrating Baal that took place in the spring equinox, which celebrated the rebirth of the earth and was most often celebrated with human sacrifice. As the sun god, Baal's worship involved human sacrifice and fire. Today, this time period often equals fire or gunfire and death. April 19th to May 1st. And what is amazing to me is voting starts today. Early voting starts today and it ends on May 1st. These 13 days are the time of high sacrifice, blood sacrifice. April 19th to May 1st is a time of blood sacrifice to the beast, the most critical period. Fire sacrifice is required on April 19th. I want you to say a special prayer over our nation that that we will not, say, let God arise, that his enemies be scattered. One of the articles on the subject says to cause trauma, stress, mental anguish, and sheer terror during the season. You know, all the people that have lost lives in these time periods that I've talked about, to them, it's an anniversary of their loss. And so it brings back bad memories. But we say, let God arise, that his enemies be scattered. Whatever the enemy, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. So take communion for your cluster and stand in the gap for your nation. Amen. God bless you. Bye-bye.